When I look at you, I feel that you are a live definition of what it takes to start a second innings in your life with courage and heart and clarity.
There was a strong determination in my mind. This is not something which I deserve in life. I have to make some decision and make sure in my life I can lead the way I am. So learning, starting from scratch was something which was a challenge for me. My son got best student award for that year. 6:30 the event started and I reached the hall 8:50. Then there's some important meeting was happening in the company and I was the last person to know. I had tears in my eyes.
What if you woke up tomorrow morning and you lost everything? What is the first step that you would take to rebuild everything?
Our next guest isn't just a typical success story. He didn't have a fancy background, no shortcuts, no spotlight, just a quiet fire inside and the discipline to show up every single day. From being the guy who was always overlooked to becoming the leader people now look up to, Shridhar Shenolikar is the living proof that you don't need noise to make an impact. You just need clarity, courage, and the guts to stay consistent when nobody's watching. This is the man who built his leadership not through words, but through action, struggle, and silent resilience.
Mr. Sridhar, thank you so much for taking time out and joining this podcast.
Thanks a lot. I am also very much happy to get this experience for myself.
Well, what's going on in your mind right now? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like a celebrity. First time I'm going through an interview of such time. So it's an exciting uh, experience for me.
When I look at you, I feel like you are a live definition of what it takes to start a second innings in your life with courage and heart and clarity.
I agree to an extent, but not so much because actually when it was like a decision which was made, make sure that my life moves on with the same uh, success behind them. So it was a compelling situation that helped me to take this decision.
So 3 decades in the corporate world, in business operations,
Yeah.
leading global teams. But I think success was different on paper for you.
Yeah. What happens, in corporate, you keep working hard and you keep growing, but like that growth has a certain limitation. So that I realized when I reached a very senior position in corporate life. खोखला बोलते हैं ना वैसे था ये सक्सेस सो one day your age salary and position goes against you and when you face that situation when you are reasonably successful in your life then what next it becomes a big question and then you have to maintain the same lifestyle or to continue with a good life these things start really but come as a botheration so that is the phase I was into after 30 years.
So did you feel that you are living someone else's dreams, because it was fully scripted?
Yeah, surely you feel that. Especially when you are been you have been made to realize you are becoming the redundant in the process. I personally feel anybody deserves to have a respectable retirement. Like, but that in our generation it did not happen that way. So that 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 was a bitter experience. But one has to be practical about things. So I had to choose a different path to move on with journey. Na kadwa leke continue नहीं कर सकते ऐसे so
No, so you retired as a respectable GM, right? For almost 30 years, you worked over there in the corporate world. How difficult was it, to start from scratch? What was the ego check like?
I was a very, very arrogant taskmaster kind of a person. Because in corporate life, when you grow to that level, you have to become that. You cannot be casual about. So when it started, the entrepreneurship journey started, that ego was a very big roadblock in my success. As to be very arrogant initially. Saying, I know everything. That is what used to be in the subconscious mind. So that was there definitely. So learning, starting from scratch was something which was a challenge for me initially. Listening to somebody who's 20 years younger to you was a big challenge. I used to feel
So as an identity you still carry today, is it? I mean, something that you said you're a taskmaster. Do you still carry that identity with you?
in a good way, yes. In a good way, yes. But I have mellowed down a bit. I listen to somebody. If he's giving me some value added inputs, I have started listening. It's a journey in itself, but I have definitely walked up on some steps on that journey. But initially, it was very tough for me.
But how did you feel to start all over again? Did you feel it was too late? Because working for 30 years, more than 3 decades approximately, and then starting all over again, what was going on in your mind? Why did you take that decision?
First of all, I had to secure my finances. Having the steady income within next 3 4 years without compromising on my job, because I had a transition phase. I did not leave my job and started my entrepreneurship journey. I wanted that transition to happen in a span of 2 3 years, and I wanted to secure my finances so that my family doesn't get impacted because of my professional challenges. So that was a very clear thought in mind. So I was ready to maybe learn from scratch. That was a kind of a compelling situation that helped me to take this path. So, but was it easy? No, period.
But then what was the hardest part, when you explained this to your family and peers that, you're going to begin a new innings in your life? How did they react?
I come from a typical Maharashtrian way of bus management. In our family, business is like nobody even thought about doing business. I was also a 25 plus years employed, so to say. So nobody actually, I'll not say believed in me, but they did not understand why I'm doing this. Because in your professional career, whatever challenges you face, you generally don't share it with your family. So what was happening in my professional life, they were not able to exactly relate it. So this transition, this is a good thing for me was my family never objected to doing this, but they did not understand why I'm putting so much effort, because there was a period of 2.5 years where I was doing the job and business as well. That time family support was very crucial, but that's I got. So I was lucky I've been that since. But whether they understood why I've started on the entrepreneurship journey or not is a big question. I don't think they will let go. But we just saying, okay, whatever you are doing, please do continue.
People generally have said to break the stereotype, one has to, challenge their own internal beliefs that they build over a period of time. And that's the toughest part, because unless and until you change your internal belief or the wiring that's going on in your mind, one cannot, make that decision or take that step towards the bigger dream or towards the bigger goal. How did you gather courage and challenge the stereotype, because it must have been really tough.
While taking the decision to start entrepreneurship journey, I saw a great potential in the business, so that's attracted me. But when actually the journey started, whatever you said just now, these challenges started coming with changing me internally, uh, getting into this entrepreneur mindset. These things were not known to me, and what one has to practically face them and work on them. That journey was tough. So I agree. It took me some years to really understand what is entrepreneurship all about. Nobody's going to respect me for my position that was there in corporate. Like here, I have to be on ground, helping people. So that I get that respect. These changes, changing your attitude towards seeing at these things really actually were challenges, but one at a time, gradually the change.
And that's when you gathered courage. Yeah.
Yeah. Means within 2.5 years, first of all, I like the business very much. I like the people are working around me. So I was very fascinated with the business. And when I was doing a job and business used to be a very happy moment for me. Doing the business activity used to keep me happy. So if you are happy doing something, you want to do it more. So what for me to gather courage to leave my job after 2.5 years was slightly easier, because I felt it now 24 hours I will do something for which I am happy about. So that was a kind of a easy transition, but it took me 2.5 years to practically look at the things and take that form. So this 2.5 years were that would see easy.
Right. If I were to ask you, what is that one painful truth about corporate culture which nobody dares to talk about, what would that be according to you? Something that you've seen in reality.
They use you. Actually, use is also a very soft word. They exploit you to the extent that they can. That they feel you're not no more required for the organization they throw. That's a bitter yes. If you don't have a peripheral beyond a certain level, it's very difficult to survive in that. So I was a self-made man. I climbed up the ladder, performing well. But one day in that corporate journey, I faced that situation. I did not have any peripheral, so I was alone. And within few months, I started seeing the flip side of Papaya.
So that made you more resilient also?
Yeah, definitely. But I was there was a strong determination in my mind. This is not something which I deserve in life. I have to make some decision and make sure in my life I can lead the way I am. So that resilience was definitely.
You train from housewives to high performers currently. Yeah, I mean, you mentor so many of them. What's your take on human potential that one does not know before, getting on this side of the world, which is the business world?
Actually, in corporate life, your educational background, your experience, your so to say English speaking ability, these things really play a crucial role in your career too. And that was a thinking that I was carrying for almost 30 years. 30 years. But here when I came and started working with cross-functional teams, having different cultural background education, right? I saw the real human potential.
Right.
I'll just take one example. One lady coming from Bihar, a typical housewife who doesn't speak English at all, but learned the business way. And she speaks in Hindi today, but she can talk to managing director and talk about the business. So that transition, even in my wife's case, she is a very soft-spoken person. But the way she has transitioned herself, these changes are actually helping me to understand the real human potential. And in this business, there are many examples that they were no one in life and they have become someone really big, nothing compared to power player. So this is something which you practically see, and then you realize the real potential of. In my own team, there are a lot of people who, when I look at their journey from 5 years back till today, I see a dramatic change. It's not only change in one aspect; every aspect of life they have changed. So that's something which is fascinating.
So personally, if I may ask you that you've seen both the sides, you've seen a corporate life for 30 years and plus, and you've seen business as well. What does freedom actually mean to you, this word? Because you've seen both the sides.
Actually, today what I enjoy more at this stage of my life is freedom. Of course, it has to be supported financially, but the feeling of freedom is not non-existent. We were working for 30 years, but we were never free. We did not have, like I'll say one example. My son got best student award in the for that year, and 6:30 the event started, and I reached the hall with paid gift too. Then there's some important meeting was happening in the company, and I was the last person to know. I had tears in my eyes. That day I decided any annual function for my son, I will be reaching in time. But these small things you compromise. Today the beauty is that when I decided to leave my job, and unfortunately within a month or two my mother was diagnosed with cancer. So those 3 months, me and my wife could take care of her fully. So I carry that good feeling for my life. No, really. Although what was evident was to happen, but since I could give more time to my mother and business still continue, this is something which is freedom. Can I put some price tag to it? No, this is something which I got from this business. So that these experiences are uh, like Chini is that happy.
I think it's very relevant what you just mentioned because, everyone uh, can be hit hard by a very, dangerous disease. But I think one should have the freedom to deal with that and, also cure it. And when you're unable to do that, that kind of leaves a mark somewhere that, oh, you did not have enough money to kind of, help your loved one to come out of this dangerous disease. What if tomorrow you woke up, and it's a little hard question, so don't mind me asking this, because you've gone through so many challenges and you're sharing your wisdom right now, you're sharing your experience. What if you woke up tomorrow morning and you lost everything? What is the first step that you would take to rebuild everything?
I continue with the business, but I will build it from scratch. Because this is a business where it was not only the work that it was not only the work that I did. I liked doing it. So if I like something, maybe I can rebuild.
Very honest, yeah. I think one learns from adversity. I think everyone likes the highs, but I think what one needs to learn from the lows is that they come to teach you, they come to make you stronger, But one has to be really prepared, because not everyone is able to deal with the lows in life. And that's when they feel like quitting. What would you tell them?
I go back to the entrepreneurship journey starting phase, because I was in corporate, I was feeling very low.
Right.
30 years you have grown in life, and then all of a sudden you come to a zero position. And again you are rebuilding. So that, and entrepreneurship for me was not easy. Like, it was not a very successful right from the first day. I went through few tough challenging situation initially also. So that I can correlate, and I can, if I rebuild once, I can rebuild one again. Maybe it will be again rebuilding the entrepreneurship option that I have put it. But this I have gone, so I can easily relate with that. I can start from scratch and
So what's that one advice you'll give someone who's sitting in a golden cage and feeling absolutely crap?
I always give that advice to maybe do something. Don't rely on your own job, because you feel that everything is going very bad. God forbid some adversity comes up. You should be prepared for that.
And I don't have what COVID taught us, right? You need to have
I'll give you one example. Yeah, the company where I worked for 21 years, 6 of my friends lost their job in that company, and during the COVID phase. And I was in connection with all 6, and I was telling them this particular incident has happened for you once in life. L- Let me wish you all the best for your next job. You will get the good job definitely, but learn from this experience and do something. Um, with God's grace, all of them have one good jobs. How many people would have started working with me around the 6? Any answer? Zero to zero. The moment they got good job, they went back to. Maybe that's the difference between what I thought about my corporate journey, and I wanted to break through that and wanted to build something of my own, so that I'm not having that stress of continually working against my wish for some salary at the end of the day. I think the desire was not that strong for that. Today also they are in contact with me, but they are not started the jati of the entrepreneurship. That's a difference, I think. So people want to live in corporates. They don't want to break up. Do something. Don't have to work with us, but do something of your own, so that in the long run you are more prepared to face challenges.
I think looking back at your own journey, which time of your life, if you were exposed to this kind of an opportunity, you would let go of your corporate job?
I think sometimes I feel why I got this opportunity after 30 years. Sometimes I do feel, and be very honest.
Correct.
But maybe when I was growing in my corporate ladder, you were very fascinated with that growth and your position, and you're getting acknowledged for whatever you were achieving. So maybe the time was not right for me. 10 years back, if this opportunity would have come, I would not have taken it seriously. So opportunity also comes to your doorsteps when you are asleep.
But one has to act on it.
And when you are really looking correct. I was desperately looking for something, and this opportunity came, so I grabbed it like, oh. And whatever challenges, today people feel what challenges you feel. Actually speaking, when I look back, don't feel those were challenges. Those were things like You don't get success in anything without putting hard work. So for me, putting that kind of hard work was necessary. And business तो ऐसे नहीं बड़ा होगा. I have to put in hard work. So this, I did not feel that those things are staircase. I just ये करना ही पड़ेगा तभी आके जाके कुछ सक्सेस मिलेगा.
But then, do you believe that everyone gets equal opportunities?
And I will say कि everyone gets some opportunity, but whether he grabs it and works on it is something which that person individual decides. So maybe I won't say nobody gets any opportunity. The opportunity comes to your doorsteps. It's depend on that individual how he takes that most.
Like at the end, I want to ask you this: that if this was your last podcast ever, what is that one truth you would want your peers, your family, your teams to remember? How to hold on to, this is something they need to hold on to.
If you talk about this particular opportunity, I think it is greatest opportunity on this path. I'm not just saying for the sake of saying it. So make most of it. I'm not going to leave it till I make most of it. So anybody who is part of this journey with me, they don't stop. But one of our senior leaders says it's not over until I make. So that's what my motto is. I would like to share the same thing. Those people who did not venture into entrepreneurship opportunity were still part of my social circle. I will say start something, build it, because that's something which will be with you.
And it's never too late.
It's never too late, because it's always a second stage of your life. You can always experience.
That's really amazing. So thank you so much, Mr. Shridhar. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks a lot. I also enjoyed.